Hello everybody, today we're going to talk about arithmetic operators. So we're gonna talk about operators that are commonly used in math. So the operators that work on numbers. Plus sign can add two numbers to each other. So 4 plus 6 will give you 10. The subtract can subtract two numbers. So we can say 9 minus 3 is going to be 6. Multiply can multiply numbers. 2 multiplied by 4 is 8. It's very important that in order to multiply two numbers, you should use the asterisk sign, okay? You shouldn't do something like that because this is a syntax error. It's invalid syntax because x is, it can be variable, right? The name of variable. But x is not something like multiply operator, okay? I know that in math in schools you learn that x is used for multiplying, but when you are using computers, when you're using Python, you're gonna use the asterisk sign. In order to divide two numbers, you should write the slash. It's also worth to notice that when you divide two numbers, the result of two integers, when you divide two integers, is float number, right? Because you have got here the dot here, 2.0. Even though you do not need to write 0, as you can see, the 0 was written, which means that this is a float number. Okay, there is also something what is called parentheses. I'm sure that you've met with them. They can change the order of what should be calculated first, right? So if you have got something like that, 2 plus 4 multiplied by 3, you need to know that in math, this thing will not be executed first. You will first multiply 4 by 3, which is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14, right? But there are times when you want to change the order of execution of what should be evaluated first. So now the computer sees the parentheses here and this thing will be executed first. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 multiplied by 3 is 18, right? So that's how it works. There is also a very cool operator that doesn't exist in other programming languages. And this operator can raise the number to the power of the number that is on the right side. So when you do something like that, 2 raised to the power of 3, it will be equal to 8. Because in order to raise to the power of 3, you need to multiply this thing by itself 3 times. So 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. As you can see, the result is 8, so everything works fine. 3 raised to the power of 2 is 9, because 3 multiplied by 3 is 9, right? 27. 3 multiplied by 3 is 9, 9 multiplied by 3 is 27. That's how it works. That's cool because in other programming languages, you cannot use the operator. You have to import some library in order to raise the number to some kind of power. Let's talk now about the floor division. When you use the 1 slash, so the typical division, when you divide 9 by 2, as the result, you're gonna get the 4.5, so the float number. But when you use the floor division, you will get the number that is here on the left, always. So even if you did something like 13 divided by, for example, 9, as you can see, the result is gonna be 1. When you do 70 divided by none, 17 with floor division is gonna give you 1. So you do not round up or the result, right? But you always round it down, okay? That's how floor division works. Well, floor is at the bottom, right? So you look down. Okay, you have got also something what is called modulo operator. It's called the remainder operator. It shows you what is left after division. So it takes this part into consideration. So when you do something like 13 modulo 9, we got as a result 4, and you are like, hey, but this is not this thing. Well, it's not exactly this thing. Well, the truth is that 4 divided by 9 is 0.44444. When I was talking about that we are looking at this part, I was saying that we are talking about this thing here. So I was talking about the number that is in the counter part, not in the dominator, but in the counter. The thing in the fraction at the top is called counter, and the thing that is at the bottom of fraction is called dominator, right? So let's train it a bit. When you have, for example, 1 divided by 3, the result is 0.33333, right? And this thing is the counter, and this is dominator. So if I did 1 modulo 3, I will get as a result 1. When I do 2 modulo 3, I will get as a result 2, right? 3 modulo 3, what will be the result of this? It will be 0, because 3 divided by 3 is 1.0, right? It means that there is no remainder. There is nothing left after division. But when we do something like 4 divided by 3, we have got here still remainder. And we only look at this remainder. This remainder is really what? 1 divided by 3, right? So 4 modulo 3 is really 1, because it is what was left here, right? 1 was the counter of dominator. 5 modulo 3 is really 2. 6 modulo 3 is 0, and so on. So 5 modulo 2 is really 1. Why? Because 5 divided by 2 is 2 and half. And the half is really something like 1 divided by 2, which is the half, right? And this is the part that we are looking at the counter. So 1 modulo 2 would be 1. So that's why 5 modulo 2 is 1. I know that it might look a bit complicated at start when you are looking at it, and you might be also like, but why do I need it? Do not worry. Right now I'm not able to show you how we could use it, because you do not know what are conditional statements. But you should notice that this behavior repeats. 2 modulo 3 2, 3 modulo 3 0, right? As you can see, we have got here from the result 1 modulo 3 1, 2 modulo 3 2, 3 modulo 3 0, and it will, after 4, it will go again to 1, 2, and again 0. So this behavior repeats, right? You have got the same always value here, but that value here is changing, and you can use it because you can change the way your program works every 3 times using the instruction like that. In future, when you learn the conditional statements, you will be able to check if the result of some operation like that is equal to 1, then you can, for example, change the background of the table to red. If it's equal to 2, then change it to black. When it's equal to 0, then change it to green. And again, red, black, green, red, black, green, red, black, green. You can do something like that. I know that it might be a bit confusing right now. I just wanted to tell you that something like that has got a meaning. Do not worry if you do not understand it right now. I'm sorry if I have confused you. Do not worry about it. Just you should right now just learn how this operator works, but because I know that it might seem like it's not useful, but believe me, this operator is one of the most useful operators in programming. You can do many useful things with it. That's all in that lesson. Thank you very much.